speaking about rookies here, we are going to go with some surprise teams that may not be on your radar, viewer. When we did post, we did ask a couple questions or post a couple thoughts throughout the week on our Twitter page. Again, go check it out. Great way to contact us, get in reach with us, tell us your thoughts about things. But we made a couple comments about, what's a receiver to watch? This guy might be good. Oh, Xavier Worthy might be good from Texas. And the very passionate, very strong Washington fan base politely let us know we need to be on the lookout for the Washington Huskies this year. And we took them, we heard them, we want to show that we listened to them. They're my college team to watch this year. And kind of when we talked about in the pregame show, I got some of the numbers here, listing it off. It caught you off guard because you didn't hear anything about it.
I had no clue.
Yeah. So for starters, they averaged 26 points per game last year. Michael Penix Jr., the transfer from Indiana, who's now a Heisman finalist watch, which again, if you didn't watch Washington, sounds weird. You're like, why is he the guy to watch? Well, let me tell you why he's the guy to watch. He threw for over 4,600 yards in 13 games last year. 4,600. That's more than Jalen Hurts threw in the NFL, and he was an MVP candidate. Or did he win? No, he's a candidate. I mean, that's an insane amount of yardage. He had a 31 touchdown to 8 interception ratio.
I just want to make a quick point. For those that haven't registered that stat line, he threw 4,600 yards in 13 games.
Yeah.
Like, let that sink in. Like, that's wild.
I think that would have been third in the NFL this year?
Dude, if he played 17 games, he was throwing for 6,000 yards. In 4 last games in the NFL, he threw for more than over almost any other quarterback in the NFL. Again, so I'm sure not many people heard that because I looked it up and I was like, oh my God, he did? There really hasn't been any attention to that. I mean, that's such a mind-blowing stat. That man is a cheat code.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, usually here, a guy threw for 5,000 yards at some small, I forgot Western Kentucky has fans. They chewed us out as well, by the way.
Who hasn't?
Yeah, no, that was a surprise. Western Kentucky has fans. A lot of them, apparently.
Who hasn't chewed us out yet? Jeez.
I think Alabama fans are still okay with us.
Well, just wait till we start talking about Roll Tide and every on our neck.
I know. But yeah, I mean, usually you hear about that from some small school that throws the ball 95% of the time. I mean, this is a Pac-12 decent sized program here that just put up 4,600 yards. He had a passer rating of 151.3, and this is just my personal opinion. I believe he has an untapped running potential. And we'll get this into after the season. We start talking about draft prospects and everything else. But I do want to clarify this now. When I say a guy plays similarly to another player, I mean in the way of what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, or maybe their style of play. I am not in any way saying he is going to become that. That's not what that means. I'm just saying if you watch him, you can kind of think, oh yeah, he kind of does remind me of this player. Michael Penix Jr. reminds me a little bit of Lamar Jackson, a left-handed Lamar Jackson. The kind of weird way they kind of throw, the lengthy, the ball, they look, usually when you're making your reads, you kind of want to work you want to work deep to short, but a lot of quarterbacks get to short pretty quick. They are sticking it deep. I went back and watched the 2020 Penn State Indiana highlights, and I don't remember too many throws that were within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage that weren't screens. I mean, everything this man threw, he was trying to push the ball down the field. Very reminiscent of Lamar Jackson. He also ran it in for an early touchdown in the game, as well as a 2-point conversion to end up winning the game over Penn State. I do think he has some untapped running potential. I don't think it's Lamar Jackson-esque. I don't think it's as good as Lamar Jackson, but I definitely think there's some potential there. Another stat that might blow your mind here. They had 2 1,000-yard receivers at Washington last year.
Which is wild.
2 1,000-yard receivers. You know how rare that is in the NFL? It doesn't happen very commonly in the NFL. And this is a college team that had 2 receivers, Jalen McMillan and if I say this wrong, I apologize. Romeo Odunze, who's apparently supposed to be considered a top 5 receiver in this upcoming draft and in college football. This is the first time I've heard his name was looking these numbers up.
I'd never heard of him. Never.
Again, I know I'm fairly new to watching college football, but B watches it pretty regularly, and this is a new name to him. Jalen McMillan, I think, had 1,069, and Rome had over 1,160, I believe. And slightly off in those numbers, but both one over 1,000, one over 1,100. And they have another guy, Ja'Lynn Polk, who's supposed to be another dude who had almost 800 yards receiving as well. They still had a running back that got over 900 yards rushing as well. So they're not just like a pass-happy only team. So they are a good, well-balanced offense. The flaw with them last year was their defense was a little bit weak. Their offense more often than not had to compensate for them, but they still went 11-2. 11-2 in a conference that still has Oregon, USC, and UCLA in it.
Utes, Utah too,
and the Utes are there. I mean, 11-2 is a ridiculous record.
Yeah.
On defense this upcoming year, they did lose, one of their top defensive linemen to the draft. He went undrafted, but a couple names I would still be watching out for is Braylon Trice, who had 12 tackles for losses last year and 10 sacks. He's coming back for his junior year. They also added Jabbar Muhammad, who is a transfer from Oklahoma State corner. I think he had 7 pass breakups and an interception last year at Oklahoma State. And I believe their linebacker, who I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because I don't feel like being ridiculed on Twitter this week. But he had 13 tackles against, I believe it was Michigan, 16 against Oregon. I believe it was 18 against UCLA. So, I mean, just another dude who's ready to take that next step forward in the program. So the only concern I really have about them is, can the defense really keep up with the offense officially or finally? And how do they compete with USC? Because there's lofty goals and expectations for USC this year. But Washington is my team to watch. Their offense will be entertaining as hell. It'll be interesting to see how the defense competes. And that purple is a nice color. It's easy on the eyes to watch this year. So if you're born on a Saturday, put on a Washington game. B, what is your team to watch this year in college?
So, I watched a good amount of college football. And I didn't want to say, there's Wisconsin. I love Wisconsin. And that's not really much of a sleeper pick. I feel like they've gotten a lot of national media coverage with Luke Fickell coming over. Dude, they're going to be good. I mean, I would be surprised if they're not in the Big Ten championship game this season.
Do you as an Ohio State Buckeye fan feel a little threatened there? Are they coming for the Buck crown?
I don't necessarily feel threatened yet, only because we're in different divisions. until they merge them, then maybe. Yeah.
Hey, you don't normally feel Bucky till he's right behind you.
Oh my god, what is that furry?
Oh my god.
No, I love Wisconsin. I got tons of respect for them. I don't think I ever told you this, Emmett. My uncle went there, so I've been to about 5 to 7 games throughout my life. I grew up in a city an hour outside of Madison, so I love Wisconsin. I actually wanted to go there for school, but I got waitlisted. We don't need to talk about that.
Did you know I've actually been on the field?
What's that?
Did you know I've actually been on the field?
Did I actually go down on? Oh yeah,
I got onto the field.
Oh, you got on the field.
Yeah, I got on the field. I got to run a couple of plays. After the cops did arrest me for trespassing, but I technically
I was so confused. I was on the field for post game hangout with the players.
For those that don't know, Camp Randall, which is where the Badgers play, if you go through their gift shop, you can walk right on this little patio that's got a 3-foot fence. You can just step over and you're in the end zone.
Yeah.
So I'm not suggesting anyone should do it, but if you wanted to, you could be a Badger for a minute.
You could be a Badger for a minute. For 30 seconds, you get laid out by the police.
Yeah. Madison, come on. Yeah. You're really terrified of the Madison police? No,
they'll tackle you, like, I'm sorry, bud. I'm sorry. And then pick you up and go.
Just into the stands, please.
But I don't want to say a team the Washington, for your example. Washington was a great example. I mean, they're the best 11-2 team I've never heard about. And Penix throwing up those are Heisman numbers, and I feel like he wasn't getting talked about at all. So I'm taking a different path. I know we talked about this in the pre-show if I actually was going to talk about this team, but I am. I'm going outside of Division 1. I'm going to the powerhouse of D3 football, North Central College. I'm giving props to them. I feel as though everyone just shits on D3 football. We both seen it. We both play D3 ball, and I'm actually proud of that. We saw Dave Portnoy make a video like a month ago saying, why would you play D3 football? It's shit. I'm tired of this, man. People don't understand some of the competition in D3 football. And just outside of my backyard, we have a 2-time defending, back-to-back national championship team in North Central College. And they're going for 3-peat this season. My brother is playing on the team this season. It'll be his first time with the team.
So do we have to put a paid sponsorship thing up here now?
Yeah, right. He'll be on there. And I'm sure the rest of the squad, I haven't gone through the roster, but we all know D3 guys do get looks from the league if they can ball. And if you're on a national championship winning team, I'm sure as hell you can play football. So
just a couple of examples. I mean, even where we went in Stevens Point, right before I got there, who was the left tackle that ended up going to Wisconsin? He transferred to Wisconsin and then got drafted by the Saints in the first round.
I think you're thinking of, right? Ryan.
Ryan Ramchuk. If you look it up, he started his college career off at University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. Luke Gerke, right? That's how I say his last name. I just know him as Luke.
I think
Luke Gerke. He's now a guard for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe he won the Super Bowl with them too, or at least made a Super Bowl appearance with them. He was a draft pick from Eastern Michigan or Central Michigan.
Central, yep.
Go a little bit further back. He was actually a tight end at University of Wisconsin Stevens Point.
Yeah, he was a beast.
Yep, there was Mertz from Colorado was I believe a 3rd or 4th round pick. He's from Whitewater. That's in the same division.
Yep.
So there is a lot of value to third round Division III football players. So if you're drunk and you just feel like wasting a lot of money on gambling, you can turn on this Division III football team. How do you find them? Are they on ESPN3, ESPN 15? What?
So the best way, if you guys do want to get more involved with the lower level divisions, best way to find them is go search up, Google the school's name, and you will see their own streaming. They usually stream on like YouTube, right? So you click on like the school's link, it'll route you to their YouTube link, and that's how you can watch them. And I really think that'd be part of it's going to be my side mission with this podcast, Emmett, is to bring respect to every division outside this, the Power 5 D1 guys. I feel like a lot of people who don't necessarily know a lot about football and what it really entails, they kind of shit on lower level divisions. And I think it'd be a good amount of talent there. I think we as a whole need to give more respect to the lower level divisions for sure.
And well, since we're on that same subject, I just want to toss out 2 more names that, one, I don't believe will compete for a national championship, but I do think there should be a good, fun team to watch. Stanford. They just got their new head coach from Sacramento State, who made it to, I believe, the 2nd or 3rd round of the national championship playoff bracket. They went undefeated. He came to Sac State, which was a joke of a program. Like they were the we don't watch, we don't talk program. And I mean, within, I think it was a year or two, like they won 3 consecutive Big Sky championships. They compete against teams like North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Montana State, if you've heard of any of those programs before. But he did leave for Stanford, but I think he can turn that program around pretty well. He's very respected in the locker room, from my understanding. He even got guys from Sac State being drafted as high as the 3rd round. One went to the Patriots. He was a safety linebacker in betweener. And with that, I'd also tell you to check out Sac State, as they are a returning Big Sky champion again. This should be a fun program to watch. I know last year they ran a little interesting offense with a 2-quarterback system. But, yeah, if you're looking for, again, they usually play later in the day. So once those big Oklahomas and Auburns and Alabamas are done playing, you're like, I got nothing else I want to do. Check them out. Turn them on. And even D3, you can actually find, if you go to the ESPN app, you can actually find they have a section for Division III football.
Oh, so, really? I didn't even know that. That's cool.
Yeah, so Yeah, so I checked up on a couple of like the Whitewater scores or the Stevens Point scores. You can actually go into the app and look it up there.